Hello everyone. In this video, I will talk about the mechanical failures we might encounter in unmanned aerial vehicles and what causes these mechanical failures. First, we had divided the drone systems into mechanical components in our previous videos. The first one is the body, the second is our landing gear, the third is our arms, and the fourth is our motor mounts. The body is the most exposed part to load and carries electronic components. While it doesn't cause most mechanical failures, it's critical to construct it securely when building a drone. Arms, like the body, are exposed to load and vulnerable to thrust and pull forces. They can suffer significant damage. It's crucial to focus on building these parts securely. Along with that, our arms are also one of the points that are exposed to load just like our body, and they can suffer the most damage due to thrust and pull forces. I would like to give an example of this. The area you see here is where our arms are connected to the body. Let's consider this part over here as our motor. When our motor exerts a downward force during takeoff, our arms must generate an upward force on the body in response to that downward force. These forces expose our body to many force components, causing screws connecting arms to the body and motor to loosen. Failures can arise from various reasons, but checking unmanned aerial vehicles before and after flights can prevent them. The emergence of a failure can actually stem from many reasons, but if we check our unmanned aerial vehicles before and after each flight, we can prevent these failures. In the second point actually, the parts that are most exposed to contact during a hard landing or when we land are our landing gear. At this point, our landing gear can suffer a lot of damage due to the loosening of the screws where they are connected to the body or because they may experience breakage during any hard landing. When we experience a hard landing or touchdown, the parts that are most exposed to contact are our landing gear. Our landing gear can suffer a lot of damage due to the loosening of the screws at the points where they are connected to the body or because they may experience breakage during any hard landing. And the parts that we most often see failures or breakages in our mechanical components are generally our landing gear. As a result, the landing gear you see in drone technologies either tries to counter the applied force in a smaller area with a more durable part by being kept short, or carbon fiber is chosen as the material type, which allows for much higher strength resistance compared to plastic. Our motor mounts are the most stable, but due to motor and flight vibrations, the screws can loosen. And along with that, if an accident occurs, the first impact will occur on the frame of our drone, meaning the motor mount mechanical parts will first encounter errors, failures, or crashes. So what are the causes of these errors? And along with that, during any accident, the first impact will occur on the frame of our drone, which means that the motor mount mechanical parts will be the first to encounter the initial error, the first failure, or the first crash. So what are the causes of the errors? First of all, when we are not using our drone systems, we should store our drones under suitable storage conditions. What are these suitable storage conditions? We must not forget that this is an electronic device. The electronic sensors on it have their own operating and storage conditions. We need to pay attention to these conditions. We should keep them away from dusty environments, because like any electronic component, our drone systems can be affected by factors such as deterioration and rapid aging in dusty and humid environments. At the same time, our drone systems have a lot of moving parts. The screws that connect these moving parts can wear out or loosen very quickly. Along with that, our parts like nuts, bolts, and washers can also wear out very quickly. They can experience breakage due to compression or may cause failures if their heads are lost or worn out. That's why before the flight, after the flight, or during maintenance, we should check all our screws. We need to check our washers and bolt nuts that will secure these screws. When the time comes, we should also ensure that these are replaced during certain periodic maintenance. Otherwise, during the flight, screws in our drone may loosen due to vibrations, risking damage. Similarly, wear can cause parts to separate or malfunction. Keep electronics clean and dry for protection. Similarly, if there is an unseen wear and tear situation and we haven't replaced our bolts, this could lead to the moving parts separating from the body or failing to function properly. Similarly, even if the mechanical parts of our drone are not damaged due to dirt or dust, and even though our carbon fiber materials are highly resistant to moisture, heat, cold, or water, we should still keep our electronic components away from dirt and dust. We should use them more in non-humid environments to protect them. At the same time, we should also keep our plastic materials away from the sun. During the flight, the sun, it will be exposed for a maximum of 30 to 50 minutes, so there is no problem. However, if we are using a ready-made drone, after the flight, we must definitely keep it in protective cases. And if we are using a drone that we built ourselves, we should keep it in a place away from the sun and protect it. As I said, without forgetting that it's an electronic device, we should always protect the sensors on it as well as the mechanical components. One of the most important points among the types that can cause errors in our drone is, actually it could be any electronic component due to a reason we encountered. It could be wind, it could be rain, or it could be an accident. If a drone comes into your hands for maintenance or repair due to an accident, the first thing you need to do is identify which mechanical parts are broken. In addition to broken parts, you also need to identify and note any visible errors or parts that may not function properly due to friction or any other reason. First of all, after any accident or crash, you need to determine the cause of the accident based on the data you receive from the flight control board. Once you determine the cause of the accident, if environmental factors are responsible, you should repair the situation and restore it to its original state and inform the user about the environmental conditions under which they should not use it. However, if this malfunction occurred due to any magnetic or electronic device rather than environmental factors, you should ensure that the electronic device is replaced or repaired. If there is any malfunction or wear in your mechanical parts due to an accident, you should first identify what material your mechanical part is made of. If there is material made of carbon fiber, it is not possible to repair carbon fibers again. That's why you need to replace them. Your plastic parts can also be divided into two categories. If you have plastics produced by injection molding, you should replace those as well. However, if you have materials produced by a 3D printer and you need that part immediately, you can at least make them reusable for 1 or 2 flights again using hot air pumps. But all of these are risks. For our mechanical components, replace any broken parts or those that may not function properly. For drones needing repair due to crash damage, especially in moving parts like motor mounts, motor holders, and where the body connects with the motor, as well as in the landing gear and body junctions, replace bolts, nuts, and washers. Why? Especially in your moving parts, in short, in your motor mounts, motor holders, at the points where the body connects with the motor, as well as in the landing gear at the junctions of the body. We definitely need to replace our bolts, nuts, and washers. Parts might be worn, bent from the crash. Bolts could be bent, causing another crash, making parts unusable. Let's say you observe that there are no issues with the landing gear, but in reality, the bolts here could be bent at a certain angle. Because of these reasons, when you think you've repaired them, they could cause another crash when they go back into flight, and we can also say that you've made your non-repairable parts unusable. Due to these reasons, when you think you've repaired something, it could lead to another crash when it goes back into flight, and we can also say that you've made your non-repairable parts unusable. Therefore, the key point you need to pay attention to during the repair phase is, the most important point is to determine the cause of the crash and identify which mechanical parts of the drone were involved in it. After that, you need to determine what percentage of the mechanical parts have faults and damage as a result of the crash. After identifying all these parts, you can determine the points on your drone that need to be replaced, as well as the areas that need to be repaired aside from those replacements.